Okay, so I apologize for the mess that is me and my beanbag chair that is thrown on top of my workout bike. I have no spoons today, and I felt like making a video anyways. So, pretty much, I guess today's video is going to be on you're not a real witch if you, and other stupid things that people say that keep you from being a witch or practicing magic or whatever. Now I wrote stuff down because, no spoons and I'm half asleep, just to kind of keep me on track and focused. But we'll start with the first question. You're not a real witch if you don't have a book of shadows. I've actually seen that. If you don't have a book of shadows, you're not a real witch. I've actually seen people say you're not a real witch if you don't come from a family line of witches. And it's things like that that when I was younger and first getting into witchcraft, it really bothered me because it's like at the time, I didn't know I was from a family line of witches. I didn't know that my great-grandmother considered herself a witch and that my mom considered herself a witch. I had no idea. And, I didn't know, I didn't know that if you didn't have a grimoire or a book of shadows that you could still be a witch. I thought, okay, well, I have to write everything down. I have to, make it protected and secret and all of this stuff. And that's not the case. You can be a witch if you believe in magic and want to call yourself a witch. It's that simple, in my opinion. And I guess a quick disclaimer is this all really is my opinion. So if you disagree with me, it's okay. You do you. It's fine. And another thing that I've heard is that in order to be a witch, you have to be Wiccan or pagan. That is, in my opinion, also not true. You can be a Christian witch, a Catholic witch, a Jewish witch, a, atheist witch. If, like I said, if you believe in magic and you want to call yourself a witch, then you're a witch. It's totally up to you. And, there are Wiccans and pagans who don't consider themselves witches. And that's also okay. That's their practice. That's their belief, whatever you want to call it. If they don't want to be called a witch, then they're not a witch. Next, I guess I'll touch on if you're not blank, then you can't be a witch. So an example of that is if you're not a woman, you can't be a witch. Well, that to me seems, one, really messed up, and two, very exclusionary, Men, trans people, non-binary people, they can all be witches if they want to consider themselves a witch. There are no age restrictions. There are no race restrictions. You can't be a witch, like I said, if you're not born into a witchy family, and even if you are born into a witchy family, if you don't want to be a witch, well, don't be a witch. It's not a hard and fast rule that you have to do something in order to be a witch or not to be a witch. I should have a skull in my hand. To be a witch or not to be a witch. Anyway, I'm being dumb. And I guess lastly, if you don't have blank tool, your magic won't work. So if you don't have a wand, your magic's not going to work. Well, in my opinion, all you really need for your magic to work is yourself and your intention. And if you've got that, then you're that's all you really need to practice magic. That's not saying that it will work every single time without fail, with or without tools. You know, you kind of are playing with the universe and the energies of the world, and if those energies don't, I guess in my opinion, if the universe doesn't want you to go through something, or it's not your time to go through something, no matter how much magic you do, it's not going to change it. And it sucks. I wish magic was a magical cure all. Believe me, if it was, I would be completely healthy and always financially stable and able to do all kinds of things. I'd be able to do my dream career and all that stuff. But magic is not a magical cure all. It's a way of using energy that everything is made of to sort of tweak the path that you're on, or get something that you either need or want, and basically give it a little bit of a boost. But I've gone on that rant before, so I won't go into too much detail, but basically, back on topic, the only tool you need is yourself. You don't need a wand, and you don't need an athame or athem, however you say it. But if you want those things, if you do feel like you need a tool, then get creative. You can use a pencil as a wand, a rolled up piece of paper into a tube, or a stick you found outside that looks really cool or reminds you of Harry Potter or some cool stuff like that. If you want an athame, a plastic butter knife would work just fine. Yeah, okay, it's plastic. I get that it's not natural or whatever, but sometimes you just gotta work with what you have. But even if you took out, a butter knife from your kitchen, I'm saying butter knife because I want people to be safe, and having a, extra sharp knife, because I know I had an athame at one point that was incredibly sharp, and, I had to be extremely careful with it, and I didn't really use it, so I gave it away. And also I have a turning 6-year-old son, and I didn't want to risk him getting a hold of that, because my altar is usually within reach of him, and while he knows not to get into the kitchen drawers and he knows not to get on my altar, sometimes that happens, so we keep sharp stuff where he can't reach it. But anyway, if you want an athame, there's options. If you want a wand, there are options. If you want to use specific herbs, maybe you don't have, star anise. That shit's expensive. So find an alternative. What else? You can Google for alternatives. You can make up your own. Like, I don't really connect with using like roses in my spells. I just think it's a little too much energy that can be misconstrued by the universe. So that, and for me, they're really hard to get a hold of. So instead of roses, I use lavender, or because I had a lavender plant. Or if I run out of lavender, I'll just go outside and pick some daisies. And if it's in the middle of winter and I need a flower, then I can go to the store and buy some flowers and just dry those. Or if you don't have the money to do that, then find another plant. Some people like to use rosemary. Buy it in the spice section. You gotta make witchcraft and magic work for you. And if you want or feel you need a certain tool or crystal or herb or whatever, then go out and get creative with it. There's many more ideas, whatever, but you don't have to have tools. You don't have to have you know, you don't have to be a certain thing. Like, you don't have to be female, you don't have to be white to be a witch, you don't have to be able bodied to be a witch, you don't have to have a book of shadows or an altar, or you don't have to be Wiccan, you don't have to be pagan. It's all just kind of, I guess, nonsense. You don't have to have any of those things. If you believe in magic and you want to be called a witch, then you're a witch. And I guess that's pretty much the end of this video. I'll stop ranting now and probably go take a nap because I'm tired. Bye, guys. This is a little outro. I will film my puppy dog again. He's being a sleepy puppo. Aren't you? Aren't you being a sleepy corn dog? Oh, you got some itches. Okay.